We'll begin, though, with that alarming rise in COVID-19 cases across the country, despite a months-long push for vaccination.
So the CDC is now reporting a 53% increase in the daily average of COVID cases compared to last week. Hospitalizations and deaths, they're also back on the rise. CDC Director Rochelle Walensky warning about the spread of the Delta variant on Thursday.
Compared to the virus we had circulating initially in the United States at the start of the pandemic, the Delta variant is more aggressive and much more transmissible than previously circulating strains. It is one of the most infectious respiratory viruses we know of and that I have seen in my 20-year career.
As health officials warn, this has become a pandemic of the unvaccinated. More children across the country are testing positive for COVID. And of course, they're mostly unvaccinated. NBC News correspondent Morgan Chesky joins us now from a COVID testing center in Dallas. Morgan, good morning. So let's talk through what we're seeing happen there with kids. How many COVID-19 cases are the health officials seeing among children where you are?
Yeah, Savannah, Yasmin, good morning. And they're certainly seeing more children come through this testing site over the last several weeks. They say about 50% of those who come through this drive-through testing clinic, about 50% are children. And they say the majority of those children are coming from a summer camp type environment where they have been exposed, at least directly or indirectly, to someone who has COVID-19. And there is a growing likelihood that those who have been exposed to COVID have been exposed to that more contagious Delta variant, which we are seeing a growing impact of here in Texas. We know that specifically a church camp in Central Texas tied to a church in the Galveston area near Houston has now been linked to more than 150 cases of COVID-19, specifically of the Delta variant. And I had a chance to speak to the health director in that county yesterday, and he just told me that this is highly contagious. And he says the speed at which it can spread is significantly different than what he witnessed over the past year. If we go back a year ago, whenever they were learning more about COVID-19 itself. A little bit different, a little more contagious, and that's why it's significantly more concerning.
So, Morgan, let's talk through more about what's going on with these camps. I mean, what are families saying about what's happening at them? You've sent your kids there, and then something like this happens. At some places, there are restrictions in place. At others, there's not, especially when kids are outdoors. But what are families of these kids who are headed off to camp saying?
Oh, they're very concerned. And it's been interesting this summer in that we go back last summer and summer camps either didn't exist at all, or the ones who did stay open had very stringent measures in place. Since then, we've seen the rise in the vaccinated population grow. And so we had a lot of summer camps essentially returning to normal operations this summer. And that could be one of the reasons that we're seeing this faster spread. We know that at one camp in particular in the Texas Hill Country, the camp itself had to temporarily shut down. The staffers had to quarantine after an outbreak of COVID there. I want you to hear what one parent of one of the campers had to say following that incident. Take a listen.
We probably let our guard down a little bit, thinking, most things are getting back to normal. I want the whole thing to be over and everybody to be safe. Yeah, if that means we have to mask up and go back to where we were a few months ago, I'm going to do it.
And you can hear the concern from that father here. We do know that as of right now, the main concern is getting kids either vaccinated or getting the return to wearing masks for those who are, they're the lights, they're with us now. And we do know that when school comes back, as of this moment, Governor Greg Abbott here in Texas had said that he will not require kids to wear masks back in the classroom. But we've also heard from President Biden, who said that the CDC will likely recommend that children 12 and under who are still ineligible for the vaccine go ahead and mask up when they go back to school. And it's going to be here before we know it.
Yeah, certainly concerning for a lot of families, parents, children ahead of the school year as we're seeing this spread in summer camps across the country. Morgan Chesky dealing with those technical difficulties and the lighting situation.
I think I saw a crew member maybe try to use a flashlight on you, so A+. Thank you
to the silhouette of Morgan Chesky.
You're like, whoa, we came back from that spot. All right, thanks, Morgan. Now to a Massachusetts vacation town that's seeing a concerning rise in the number of cases, particularly among fully vaccinated people. NBC News correspondent Antonia Hilton joins us now from Provincetown, Massachusetts. Antonia, good morning. So just give us an idea, give us a sense just how bad is this outbreak where you are, and then also across the state. And of course, when we hear that, the fact that it's particularly among fully vaccinated people, I mean, that's really got to be ringing alarm bells.
Good morning, Savannah. That's right. It's pretty alarming here. There are 256 confirmed cases of COVID, and they are believed to stem out of July 4th celebrations that happened just a couple weeks ago, when in this popular town, large numbers of residents, non-residents, vaccinated and unvaccinated people were mixing at parties and events for days on end here. But what's really got people worried is that fact that many of the cases are vaccinated people. In fact, actually, the town manager here in Provincetown says that 70% of the cases are fully vaccinated people who got all of their shots. And the suspicion here is that this could be caused by the Delta variant, but they haven't received that confirmation yet. But to put this in greater statewide context, Massachusetts is the second state with the highest vaccination rate, and this is the area with the highest vaccination rate in the state. And so this has caused people to reevaluate, what does a safe summer look like in this popular town, Savannah?
Yeah, absolutely. And so what is being done to try to keep it safe, especially when I know there's so many summer tourists there? What are officials doing to try to stop this outbreak?
Well, first and foremost, officials are reminding people to please get vaccinated before they come here. And they are reminding people that if you are vaccinated and you do get COVID, you are going to get either an asymptomatic case or a much more mild case than you would if you did not receive the shots. But now they've also put a new mask advisory back in place. So this means people are being asked to wear their masks again inside stores or venues, to wear their masks outside if they can't keep a safe distance from other people. And, you know, the governor has allowed these localities to do that, to reinstitute rules if they feel that that's what's going to mitigate their risk and keep their communities safe. And of course, business owners and officials here want to be able to keep these places open, want people to come to P-Town and be able to party this summer, but they also want to make sure that these outbreaks stop and that people are safe. Savannah.
Antonia, of course, this last year has meant businesses have been shut down. Restaurants, shops haven't been able for about a year now to get the type of business that they're used to. And in a particularly popular summer tourist destination, you need the business at this time. You need people coming in. What does this mean for businesses there? What are they telling you? How are they responding to a rise in cases there at the same time that they really need those people coming into their shops and restaurants?
That's exactly right. I mean, the stakes are really high for these businesses because many of them struggled and fought really hard to be able to be open and serve their customers, their clients this summer. And so what we're actually hearing is some of them are even taking things a step further. We spoke to a business owner who runs a boutique hotel here called Pilgrim House, and he is demanding that all of the visitors be vaccinated. In fact, he's even canceled reservations for folks who are refusing to get vaccinated. And the understanding here is, you know, this is about protecting everyone who comes to P-Town and protecting locals who live here year round and run their businesses here because they want this to be a safe summer. There are more big weekend events just like July 4th coming up, and they don't want to see more outbreaks like this one.
Absolutely. All right, Antonia, stay safe, and hopefully you can enjoy one of the best summer destinations that we've got over here on the East Coast while you're there. Thanks for your reporting.
Love Provincetown. All right, so with cases on the rise across this country, once again, here's how the president responded when asked about changing mask guidance.
We follow the science. What's happening now is all the major scientific operations in this country and the 25-person group we put together are looking at all the possibilities of what's happening now. We have a pandemic among the non-vaccinated, those who are not vaccinated.
All right, let's bring in NBC News medical contributor Dr. Kavita Patel joining us now. Dr. Patel, good to see you this morning. Thanks for joining us on this. So you heard the president there. We're going to follow the science, right? And then going on to say that this is a pandemic happening amongst vaccinated folks. But listen, just listening to Antonia, folks that have gotten both shots now are having some of those breakthrough infections. Pretty concerning across the board. First and foremost, I think one of the major questions is, do you wear a mask or not if you are vaccinated? Where are you personally on this, and what's the official guidance at this moment?
Yeah, great to see you, Yasmin. I'm supporting the United States in my blue and white as well. So but on a more serious note, you're right. This is something that I think the president has had to be very clear that he follows the science. But look, he's not blind to what Antonia and others are seeing around the country. Personally, I have always consistently worn a mask indoors in settings that are not familiar to me, restaurants, retail, where I don't know if other people are vaccinated or not. That was because I'm an incredibly cautious person and I'm a healthcare worker. But I will say that the evidence is also now growing that if you are in a place that's congested, even in, as Massachusetts is, highly vaccinated, this is just a more infectious virus and variant. And it would be wise to wear a mask, even if you are vaccinated.
So there's also this idea of a booster shot that we've been talking about for the last couple of weeks, right? And one of the theories that was put out there was that scientists had to look at how many breakthrough infections were actually happening as to whether or not folks that were fully vaccinated need those booster shots. Are we seeing enough breakthrough cases at this point to make the case for a booster shot in the coming months, especially with this highly contagious Delta variant?
Yeah, great question. So we have not, based on the data we have in the United States, but up until May, we were monitoring all breakthrough infections starting in May, only the ones that were hospitalized or